This is Politics with Avi, and I'm Avi. As I promised you, I will be hosting yet another episode of Politics with Avi, the 28th episode called Political Forecasting Concept, Essence, Typology Problems of the Effectiveness of Political Forecasting. So, before I start, I'm going to be defining what forecasting is and everything like that. So, I will be reading, but I will be also adding some nice examples that you could use, and I'll be elaborating on certain things that I do believe are not well enough defined here. So, forecasting in politics is an explanation of possible states, changes in the political system, its institutions, other political phenomenon within certain boundaries of social time and space. Political forecasting is the result of prognostic activity. Its content is a probabilistic judgment about the future state of a given political systems, its elements indicating certain periods and changing them. Political forecasting structure, design and management, methods of preparation and development of political decisions. Conditions of reliability of the political forecast is the objective, logical trends and changes in the political system. Principles and norms of functioning of this substantial time factor, geopolitical and demographic factors. Goals of prognostic activity as well. The ongoing and expected changes in the system should be considered as to a certain extent defined by its value regulatory basis. Prediction is usually understood in a broad and narrow sense. First of all, broadly, this is the development of a probable judgment on the state of a phenomenon in the future. In narrow, the second sense, this is a special scientific study of the prospects for the development of a phenomenon, mainly with quantitative assessments, my apologies, and indicating more or less certain terms for the change of this phenomenon. Each forecast is developed in order to avoid the undesirable results of the likely development of events and accelerate the likely development in the desired direction, as well as to adapt to the inevitable. So, political forecasting helps either parties or individuals who are in the political realm basically analyze what is to come and then take the corrective measures or preemptive measures to control over what is to come, what is to occur, either an event or whatever else. All right, let's continue on. Forecasting is practiced in all areas of society. One of its directions is political forecasting, the object of which is politics, of course. As you know, they distinguish between internal and external policies and politics. Each of the two main policy areas has its own specifics. Therefore, forecasting in the field of politics appears in two forms, domestic and foreign. Internal is domestic, foreign is external. Just remember that. The object of political forecasting is very wide and complex in structure. Therefore, the concept of political forecasting means a multifaceted activity to conduct special scientific research and development forecasts of numerous policy components in the field of their diverse relationships and interactions, as well as in the field of relationships with other areas of society, economic, social, spiritual. In general, in the field under consideration, the most important forecasting task is the identification of promising political problems and the best ways to solve them in the interest of optimizing the management of political processes, as well as anticipating certain political events, both desirable and undesirable. The typology of political forecast is based on various criteria depending on the goal, objective or objectives, objects, nature of the lead, time period, methods, and other factors. Based on the problem target criterion, that is depending on what the forecast is being developed for, search and normative forecasts are distinguished. According to the lead-in period, the period of time for which the forecast is calculated, operational up to 1 month, short-term up to 1 year, and medium-term up to 5 years, long-term up to 15-20 years, and long-term as distinguished outside long-term. Everyone who develops scientific forecasts and applies them in practical politics one way or another is voluntarily or involuntarily guided by the principle of knowability of reality. Consequently, the materialistic epistemology serves as the methodological basis for forecasting. The objective basis for forecasting political events is that their future lies in the present, but only in opportunity. Therefore, scientific forecasts of political events, phenomena, and processes are meaningful, conscious opportunities for the development of the political life of society taken in their theoretical validity. Opportunity exists objectively in reality itself as a hidden tendency for its further development. Very important to remember. Therefore, there is no other way to predict the future except for the knowledge of the opportunities and trends embodied in the present state of the political system. Thus, a scientific forecast reveals a future political event as something objectively determined by the previous course of things, that is, something predetermined by the laws of development and functioning of the political system. So you have the data, you input it, you analyze it, you calculate it, you interpret it, you elaborate on it, and then you conclude with your political forecast. Of course, political forecasts may differ greatly. It really depends on who is doing the examination, but theoretically, they're all supposed to be quite objective. It is generally believed that the future is behind new phenomena, facts, and processes of development of the present, that there is a future in them. However, it can be stated with certainty, my apologies, only taking into account the action of the laws of development of objects of political forecasts revealed by science. In other words, the most important basis for forecasting is the action of objective laws of a certain area of reality, in this case, political. The objective basis for forecasting is the system structure of the political sphere of society. Any system is a combination of interconnected and interacting elements that form a certain integrity unity. System properties are not limited to the sum of the properties of its components. The system actively affects its components and transforms them in accordance with their own nature. At the same time, a change in some elements can lead to a certain change in the entire system. The practice of forecasting and its theoretical understanding showed that in the implementation of this activity, it is necessary to be guided by certain principles. Alright, so this is very important. The most important of these are the principles of alternativeness and verification. The principle of alternativeness in this case means that when developing a forecast, all possible directions of the development of the object, various options for turning the existing opportunity into reality should be provided, justified. The principle of verifiability, means that the forecast must contain the possibility of its confirmation or refutation. A forecast that can neither be confirmed nor disproved is useless. Verification is an empirical verification of theoretical propositions by comparing them with observable objects. Currently, political forecasting has a number of methods. This is also very important. Amongst them are extrapolation, modeling, examination, collective generation of ideas, scenario building, forecast graphs, as well as other groups of methods. Each group contains several ways to develop forecasts. Some political scientists divide the methods of political forecasting into objective and speculative. Objective methods are those that are based on existing, established by experienced trends. In this case, the decision is made on the same basis. Such methods include extrapolation, modeling, examination, and some others. Speculative, these are methods that are based on intuitive reasoning, on understanding the foundations of science and culture. Such methods include collective generation of ideas, brainstorming, script writing, forecast graphs, and many others. Let us briefly consider some groups of methods of both types. One of the most important ways of modern socioeconomic and political forecasting is extrapolation. Its essence lies in the fact that reliable conclusions on one part of a phenomenon extend to another part, to the phenomenon as a whole, to the future of this phenomenon. Extrapolation is the leading method for predicting the future based on existing trends in the present. Modeling is a model of researching objects of knowledge, that is, phenomenon, process, systems on their models. The possibility of modeling, that is, transferring the results obtained during the construction and study of the model to the original, is based on the fact that the model in a certain sense displays, reproduces, models any of its sides. So, modeling forecasting is based on the fact that the model has a theoretical basis. In the absence of a theory that would serve as the basis for developing assumptions about future relationships, information about the present alone is not enough. Among speculative methods, let us consider brainstorming. That is the methods of sudden ideas, according to many people. Let's say think tanks are based on brainstorming, but that's not exactly true, because there's a lot of hypothesizing there, and then testing, examination, and data you could extract a lot of information from. So it's not just brainstorming. Never mind. The first stage of brainstorming is the generation of a large number of ideas in a small period of time and in a small group, 5 to 12 people. At this stage, no assessment of comment is made regarding the feasibility of these ideas, which could lead to premature denial. After this creative stage is completed, ideas are combined and evaluated. Additional opportunities are created for options for probable events. Then the most important prognostic ideas are highlighted. Specific methods by which political forecasting is conducted are formed by a combination of a number of methods. So this is so far what we have about political forecasting. My apologies, but there's some issue with my eyes. As you can see, they're bloodshot red and they're very irritated. But I did manage to give you most of the information about political forecasting. If you're interested to learn more about politics, I will be hosting another episode very soon. Hopefully this was